we are left always feeling like we need more. And that's just not physical stuff. That is also, we need to be smarter. We need to have a higher education. We need to be in certain types of jobs. Everything is putting pressure. And I'm here today to dissect that, to take that apart and really get down to the nitty-gritty of what makes you you, so you can start your journey towards self-acceptance. Today is a new day. I am Nikki G, your host. Welcome to the Lone Doctrine, a safe space to bridge the gap between your authentic self and your mental health. We are your food for thought exploration station in order to make today better than yesterday. This month, we've been talking about self-acceptance. I am a huge advocate of self-acceptance. Now, a lot of people get self-acceptance and self-esteem very confused. Now, there are similarities, I will agree, but self-acceptance is something that is a journey, something that we have to work on daily, and something that we can lose easily along the way. If we find self-acceptance, we will have the peace of mind we're ultimately seeking. Now, the reason I say it becomes a journey is because most of us live in societies where comparison is a huge issue. Whether it be through social media, whether it be the norm of having the next big thing or the next new tech item, or the certain brand of clothes or the certain type of car, we are bombarded constantly with what we are expected to do and what seemingly will make us successful. Now, I'm here to kind of break that down, not just in regards to social norms, but also when it comes to ourselves, when it comes to the individual you are. Because I don't want you to get lost in the mix. I don't want all of us to become a copy version of the other. You are here for a reason. Your story, your purpose, your passions, everything about you is important. The goodness within you is important. And when we feel the pressure of all of these societal norms, slowly but surely, we lose ourselves. I know that my upbringing and where I came from and where I've lived has been a constant struggle and a constant fight, the good fight, to always remain who I am, to give myself a chance to figure out who I want to be and who I'm going to be, while fighting against all these comparisons and expectations. We are left always feeling like we need more. And that's just not physical stuff. That is also, we need to be smarter. We need to have a higher education. We need to be in certain types of jobs. Everything is putting pressure. And I'm here today to dissect that, to take that apart and really get down to the nitty-gritty of what makes you you, so you can start your journey towards self-acceptance. There's this ideal, there's this kind of theory, I would say, in psychology, and it's called the pyramid of needs. Now, our basic needs are this: shelter, food, and good health. That's basically, if you take everything else away, all we need to survive. Then, as the modern world has come into play, we have stacked more and more and more and more things on top of that. If we take that pyramid of needs and then we start adding in identity, whether it be our race, our sexual orientation, how we identify, then it also starts to get in the mix of taking away from what these basic needs are. Now, life isn't necessarily that simple. I understand. Life is very, very complex. But as long as we're meeting those needs, and unfortunately, those needs aren't met with everyone, But if they are, you have put yourself in a position to not only better yourself, but also find yourself. When we take away the pressures, when we take away the judgments, when we stop questioning our identity, we get down to the truth of who we are. And I want to remind you again and again, finding that truth is daily, and finding that truth changes. We go through different chapters of our lives, and that truth will change, and that's okay. Sometimes we read stories as a child, we watch movies as a teenager, we come into adulthood and we're expected to fit this line of going to school, going to college, getting a job, retiring, and then dying. Life is not like that. And it's becoming more and more different the more we recognize that life is much more than that very rigid time frame. So as we continue this journey, your truth can change, and that is okay. Because again, it's okay to break open that box. It's okay to break open and question the social constructs that you've grown up in. Because not everything will work for everyone. And although some things may be harder than others, fighting for the good fight may sometimes bring a lot of sadness, bring a lot of struggle. It is worth the fight because your truth is beautiful. And so much of what we're taught that is wrong is exactly that. We're taught it. We're taught to hate. We're taught to dislike things. We're taught that this is right and this is wrong. But life is on a huge, colorful spectrum. Something that I always encourage people to do is, if you can, travel. Because when you're on the journey to finding self-acceptance, there's nothing better than traveling and seeing how different people live, how different people speak, how different people have different ways of doing anything and everything. And even if you can't travel, the one good thing, well, there are many good things, but the one good thing about the internet is that you can explore online, travel online, watch shows that take you along for the ride, and really see how this story you've been told of how life is supposed to be can literally be flipped upside down, and someone can be living their life completely different. And that's what I want to have you experience, whether it be through travel or stories or listening to other people's ways of life, and not necessarily bringing your judgment in right away to completely disconnect or disagree right away, because they could bring something that really benefits you and really will help you in your own personal journey towards finding self-acceptance. Now, when it comes to all these different aspects such as race and sexual orientation and identity, it does get a little bit more complex because we're dealing with years, if not decades, if not centuries of oppression where something has gone wrong along the lines that has taught people that one way is the right way, one way is the wrong way, and those people who fit into those minorities may not be the right way. And if you are someone who feels like you're in those minorities, I know how difficult that is because I'm there with you. And when you're trying to find just the basic understanding of who you are and then having that piled on top of you, it's a lot of weight to carry. And it's a lot of mud sometimes to just trudge through. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that you continue forward and that you continue to realize that although you might be a different color, although you might have a different sexual orientation, although you might be in the LGBT community, that is just a part of you. And you are made of many, 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 many parts. And the difficulty with most societies is that this label will feel sometimes all-encompassing. That if you're gay, that's all you are. But I'm here to tell you that is not true. You are much more than just that one singular, over-the-top, misconstrued, misinformed label. You are made of many, many parts, and I want to encourage you to continue to set those things aside and really find your truth. Because when it comes to success, when it comes to true life, living it to the fullest, it's an individual success metric system. Because at the end of the day, you can ask some people who have all the money in the world that fit right into the right box, that have the right car, that have the huge house, that have the family, that have all the money, and they don't have any social issues or any social judgments against them. And sometimes those are the most unhappy people you'll ever meet because they've completely lost who they are because they're too busy trying to fit in the box. When you take the journey of self-acceptance, no matter where you stand, no matter how you identify, you will relieve stress, you'll relieve depression, you will feel less isolated, you'll feel less like an outcast. And all in all, it's about the journey, always about the journey. I want to share with you to close out today something I found online at medium.com. It's called Self-Acceptance and Inner Peace. Accepting ourselves and finding our way to having a sense of peace can often seem like an impossible journey. The solutions and results can seem so far away from ever being achieved. We feel like we are in a long, dark tunnel without any light nor any end of the tunnel in sight. It all feels so intense and difficult. With the ironic fact being that we can find ourselves accepting everyone in our lives, some of which can be very tough processes to go through. Yet when it comes to accepting ourselves and being okay with what's within us, the task seems to be on a totally different, higher level. One of which seems to constantly hold us back from liking who we are or accepting ourselves for the person we've become throughout life. The first step in creating a gateway towards getting through these type of things is self-forgiveness. Forgiving yourself is an excellent first step. And from there, realize that none of you have to carry around guilt and shame for the rest of your lives. It does take strength to go through this process, but it's worth the hard work. Peaceful living will be there for the taking. When the world feels like it's coming against you, give forgiveness because it's not about the world, it's about you. Today and always, keep fighting the good fight.